It worth striving for best-selling status? Well, that's something that seems to be just all over the internet these days. Everyone is advertising how to become a best-selling author. And I did a little bit of research before coming on here, and I went into Google, I went into the YouTube search, and I typed in how to become a best-sell. And then it just spit out all the different responses of best-selling author, best-selling novelist, how to become a bestseller in so many days. It's what everyone seems to be wanting, right? And I may have an unpopular opinion that I'm going to share today, and that is that it's not worth it. And I'm going to explain why. First reason is that it's fleeting. Did you know that on Amazon, best-selling status, the rankings, is changed every single hour? And with the flood of new authors coming into Amazon every single hour, you can only imagine that your chances of remaining a best-selling author in a certain category is going to be very limited. Sometimes just for 1 hour, maybe for a couple hours, maybe even a day or two, but rarely is it for weeks or months on end, right? It's very fleeting. Another reason that I don't think that best-selling status is worth striving for is that it can be manipulated. So if you know how to really, um, like if you've studied SEO really well and really have honed in on keywords and your categories within Amazon, it is easier, I'm not saying it's easy, but it's easier to hit best-selling status, right? Now, there are people that would say, well, that's because they did their research. It's work that they did. That's true. That's true. But it can be manipulated, right? And when you're talking about the really big list, like the New York Times bestseller list or the USA Today list, um, especially the New York Times one can be subjective. There's been a lot written over the years about the pros and cons of the New York Times bestseller list, and a lot of rumors about how it can be, you know, some third parties were able to game the system and buy authors their spot. And that's been hotly contested, of course, on the other end. But the fact is that it can be manipulated if people really put their minds to it, right? And so it just limits all authors from having an equal chance, right? Another reason that it's not really worth it to strive for best-selling status is that it's all based on huge numbers, right? So on Amazon, it all is about number of sales and reviews the first week, especially the first 2 days, to hit those bestseller statuses. And in the New York Times, it's all about selling 50, I think it's, let me look at my notes here. Yeah, 5,000 to 10,000 books in 1 week, the first week that your book launches, right? And not only that many books, but it has to be spread out across the entire United States, right? Across the country. And not just from like one or two booksellers, but from a variety of retailers, right? So there's a lot of moving pieces, a lot of volume that the average indie author isn't going to be able to compete, right? And the USA Today list, from my research that I've done, seems to be a little bit better, offer a better chance for indie authors to get on their bestseller list because they are inclusive of self-published authors, and they also take into account the book sale data, not only from big retailers like Walmart or Barnes and Noble, um, regular booksellers, but also they take into account indie bookstores and also like the book subscription services. that are mail ordered and that kind of thing. So that's encouraging. And so there are opportunities to hit the bestseller status. But what I want you to see is that you shouldn't place your focus on it. Don't place the emphasis on it. It's a nice, accolade to achieve, right? Nothing wrong with it as long as you're not manipulating it, right? But rather than spending all that time and effort, and by the way, are you prepared for if your book truly does hit bestseller status? Say it hit like the New York Times bestseller, just pretend here, right? Would you be prepared, right, for the expectation to have to write a second follow-up book that is just as successful, right? That's a lot of stress, right? So rather than focusing on the what ifs and the grandiose and putting yourself all through that stress, um, I think it would be better to place more emphasis on creating a quality book, right? Creating a book that offers value to the reader. So, what is something that what's a problem that you can solve? What is a question that the reader has? What is something that, how can you make your writing read better? How can you tell a better story, even if you're writing a nonfiction book, right? Consider the value that you're offering your reader. You want to make it valuable. I was just in a Voxer thread with a group that I'm a part of, and they were saying how they have been frustrated many times by spending like $25 on a book that had absolutely no value and they felt like they wasted their money. You don't want people to be saying that about your book, right? You want to provide good content, valuable content that meets a need, that resonates with the reader, that keeps them turning the pages. You also want to make sure that it's well written, right? You want to make sure that it is grammatically and typographically free of as many errors as possible. I don't believe that it's truly possible to create a completely error-free book. There's always something that you're going to overlook, some minor something. But to make sure that it's as free of errors as possible is within your power, right? And it utilizes professionals, right? Professional editors. It utilizes others giving you feedback, whether it's a critique group, a critique partner, beta readers, getting feedback and being open and receptive to that feedback, right? That's the important thing, being receptive and being able to incorporate not everything that they say, but all the things that are in unison, right? If you're hearing from multiple people that this one particular area in your book doesn't make sense or is confusing or is outright false, you might want to take a look at that and fix that error or rephrase it so that it's clearer or present your argument with more supporting evidence, right? You also want to let the readers know that they're on a journey. So keep them moving through your book with additional storytelling, with telling them, leading them through a journey, right? Helping them to accomplish a certain task. Whatever it is that you're writing about, whatever your theme or your topic, you want to present it in a logical, flowing way that offers them insights, value, action steps, and then leads them to whatever it is that you want them to do at the end. Like, how can they continue to work with you if you're writing a business book? How can they continue to learn on this certain topic? Provide them with ways to continue to engage with you and anticipate your next book, if you're going to be writing um, a series of books, just let them know what's coming, what next steps they can take, what you're up to. Don't just leave them hanging with quality, good information, but also let them know what else can come next, right? So these are the things that you would want to focus on, right? Focus on quality rather than status, right? Content rather than status. So, if you would like assistance or help as you navigate your self publishing journey, I invite you to sign up for the wait list for my Bookworthy Academy. I opened it up its doors back in January for the initial iteration and had valuable feedback. I'm currently tweaking it and getting it ready to relaunch in the fall. And I would love to have you join me. It's a comprehensive step by step walking through the entire self publishing journey from writing all the way to printing and everything in between. There are so many steps. If you're not familiar with self-publishing, especially if this is your first foray into the self-publishing world, you will want to definitely get on the wait list. And also, you can do that and learn more about it in using the link in the description below. You can also download my free self-publishing checklist. That link is below. And of course, you want to make sure that you are subscribed to this channel so that you don't miss out on any future videos. And with that, I've given you enough action steps, next steps that you can take to further your self-publishing journey. I would love to meet you, love to see you inside of Bookworthy Academy. And in the meantime, keep watching those videos. Check out the next one on the screen.